Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about people pleasing and how, although many of us feel like it is a way to grow connection and make other people like us and feel closer to us, that it actually does the opposite. It's not a really strong foundation for true connection. It leaves us kind of groundless and like we're never really connecting with our true heart and our authentic self, which compromises the integrity of our relationships. And I see this a lot with empaths and people who, they care a lot about others. They can feel and read their feelings, their experiences, and they have a deep desire to make other people comfortable. So make sure that they're not creating waves or they're not disturbing the other person. And they think a lot about the other person's reaction. So not wanting to generate negative reactions in somebody else. And I know this because I have the tendency myself, and I read people as I'm saying things, I'm watching their reactions. And if I'm not careful, I alter what I'm expressing or what I want to say based on how I read them, and I can tell what they want to hear. And this happens, quite naturally for many of us who've been trained that we want to appease the other person. We want to make sure that their experience is smooth and calm, and then we kind of sacrifice our own expression of who we are based on that. Or we can even kind of forget who we are because we're so focused on kind of catering to the experience of others. Which empaths, it's a great skill. There's nothing negative about it if we use it in a healthy way. But if we're kind of losing self in the experience of another, then that is what kind of creates a fissure in our relationship, a crack, rather than bringing us closer together. And so what we can kind of do is notice, am I searching for the reaction of the other and changing my words or my behaviors based on what I predict that they will be feeling or how they will interpret what I'm saying? And there's a level of that that's skilled conversation, right? That it's a good thing to kind of not present things too abruptly or not to purposefully create chaos in a relationship. But there's a level that goes overboard where then we are losing our voice entirely because it's like we're mirroring back what the other person wants us to say. We're like reading it and then we react in that way, or we know what's going to make them smile and we act in that way. So we lose true self because what we're trying to do is simply mirror and show up in the way that the other person would like us to or is expecting us to. And we shy away from saying our truth based on what if the other person is going to take it negatively. So when we get to this level, it's that people pleasing that loses self. And instead of, making our connections stronger, it kind of takes away their authenticity and it leaves this flimsy line because we're kind of groundlessly floating between who we're pleasing in that moment and what we're trying to alter ourselves to. And so our foundation then is kind of fluent and not solid in anything. And people feel that, right? There's like no solidity to your presence. There's no you in what you're saying. It just becomes a reflection of what other people want to hear. So when we think about this, we think, okay, well, we don't have to look at the empath or the desire to make other people comfortable as negative, because it is a good connecting tool, right? It helps us to be peaceful in relationships. But we just want to pay attention to, am I still here? Is my voice still here? Is my authenticity still here? And it doesn't mean, never compromising. Like, you have an opinion and that's it. Like, I'm going to lose my authenticity if I sway on this at all. But it helps in, like, you can hear other people's opinions, and that empath in you can feel how they're feeling, and so we don't trigger, but we can still share our truth. So it's a paying attention. Did I stay authentic here? Was there a need that I had, or a thought that I had, or an opinion that I didn't stay true to? And it's even more than just being quiet. It's almost like you agree with the other person, or you follow their story because you want to make them feel better. But you notice, did that kind of shut out your own heart? Was there a little collapse in your authentic self when you did that? And so instead of changing our belief or our words to kind of mirror what's going to make others happy, we look and we say, can I stay true to self here in a way that doesn't harm? You don't have to harm other people with what we're thinking, and that's not the point. But I can stay true to myself. And oftentimes I notice myself doing this of, like, instead of agreeing and, like, if I'm people pleasing, I'll try to, like, add to their story or confirm their truth. And instead of doing that, sometimes I might say, oh, okay, I see how you could see it that way, or I see it different. And you don't even have to go into sharing your thoughts if it's going to create, disconnect or chaos. But you'll notice that if you do that, that little heart center stays in its integrity, because it hasn't compromised or said something that doesn't align just to appease the other person. So you're not creating conflict, but you're also staying true to self. And that we get stronger as we do this, and we notice that it helps us to actually show up more authentically and genuinely for the people in our lives, and that we start building true relationships of people who appreciate who we are, and not just the fact that we appease them. And that builds a really healthy connection, that you show up as who you are, and people can appreciate that and feel your authenticity in it. So we just kind of notice and be aware. Did I lose my voice there? Not just lose it, but did I shift it to appease and people please? And then what does that feel like in my body when I do that? And I know for myself, I can actually feel my heart kind of clenching around it. Or did I, is there a way for me to be in this situation and be authentic without creating chaotic conflict, where there can be difference and I can stay true to myself without harming others? And what does that feel like? And when I do that, I notice that even if I can see that the other person hasn't been quite as appeased, there's this joy in my own heart, and that there's actually a deeper, truer connection between us, because I showed up authentically and they showed up authentically. And two kind of grounded, rooted people come together in a much healthier way than one who always kind of gives in and just allows the other person to never experience the discomfort of having a differing opinion. So I invite you this week to just notice your tendency, if you have any, of people pleasing, or if you're on the other side and maybe you expect other people to have your same opinions and to always bend to your view of things. And ask yourself, is this really creating genuine connection? And can I be here with this person as my authentic self? And can I share my truth, or at least stay in it? Doesn't mean you have to share it, but can I stay in it in everyone's presence? And notice how that takes care of you and your heart and your well-being, and that it allows you to show up really authentically and well for other people. If you have any comments or ideas for future topics, you can leave them below. And if you enjoy these talks and would like to join a group session or individual coaching, you can visit us at newleafmindfulness.com. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope to see you all very soon.